incredibly excited, James. I think it's going to be a very, very special occasion indeed, isn't it? I think to see our home full for the very, very first time, it's going to be a real milestone moment for the club. And I think anyone that's been to the Damhill Stadium this season and experienced the noise and the atmosphere and the colour that it's generating, and that's with 6,500 people in there. See it with 7,774 people in there is going to be something very, very special indeed. To have a fit for purpose home of our own, that means that when we can generate these crowds of 7,500, 8,000 people, that it's a packed atmosphere. It's a really, really tight match day experience where the noise that's generating just gets behind the team, and where we as a club can really find our voice. That was a phrase I think that a lot of our supporters used about what the stadium meant to them when it was opening, was that it would allow them to find their voice. And I think that's absolutely true. That's exactly what's happened here. We've found our voice as a club, and I think we're going to hear that voice on Saturday night. I hope there is more of a connection there. That was certainly something that when the pandemic hit, was spoken about before. We focused on really, really heavily as a club, in the absence of any live rugby, because there was no live rugby for a while, and certainly for a long time there was no live rugby with fans being able to experience the matchday atmosphere. How do we stay engaged with our fans? How do we keep talking to our fans? How do we ensure that we are staying in contact there? And we put a big focus on that during the pandemic, and then obviously this season with fans being back in the stadium in our new home, continuing that and promoting that connection, that engagement is really, really important for us, to stay with our fans. And hopefully our fans feel that we are talking to them in a way that we've never talked to them before, but importantly that we're listening to them in a way that we've never listened to them before, and that they feel invested in this club because it is their club. I think historically for the club, I think as I said before, it's a milestone moment. It's a real landmark moment. This is what we've been building for a long, long time. I think as a club, we've probably had a relatively nomadic existence over the years. We've played at various club grounds around the city, various school grounds around the city. We've always spent a lot of time in the main bowl at BT Murrayfield, which was a fantastic environment to play in. But I think the reality of that was the atmosphere and what we could generate in there as a club, as a group of fans was always challenging. So this is the moment for us. This is that landmark moment, to sell out for the first time, and show what we can do. So this is the bit that doesn't get seen a lot, and this is the bit that I am also really, really proud of. The amount of work that's gone on behind the scenes. Firstly, to build the stadium. We embarked on this build project, and then the global pandemic hit, and it was suspended for 3-4 months. So to resurrect that project after lockdown and deliver that in a really, really challenging environment, and deliver that under budget as well. A huge amount of work went into that from that project team. And then you've got the situation, right, okay, the season's starting, but we haven't actually been able to bring fans into the stadium yet because of COVID restrictions. So how do we get creative in terms of, marketing the stadium to people, showing people what it's all about, and getting that buy-in from our fans as to what it's all about? And the work that went in from our off-field teams on that, from our marketing teams, from our communication teams, from our social media teams, in really difficult circumstances was massive. And then we talk about what the stadium means to us as a club in terms of that kind of almost a kind of step change from a financial sustainability perspective. We had to devise a new ticketing strategy, a new season ticket strategy, again against the backdrop of COVID, in a whole brand new environment with a new stadium. So again, the work that went in from our marketing team on that was absolutely massive, and the fruits of that were 3,500 season ticket holders, and a record number of season ticket holders for the club. I've probably not done that justice, to be honest, in that answer, because the amount of work that has gone in and continues to go in, the work that goes into matchday atmosphere, for example, matchday experience, trying to ensure that what we're delivering for our fans is the best experience and the hottest ticket in town. And we've also had to do that against the backdrop of COVID and, you know, some restrictions there, you know, in terms of contact with players, etc., that ideally we wouldn't have had, you know. So again, so much has gone into that. So much has gone into that, and I'm just incredibly proud of the team here in Edinburgh who've delivered that. Because if I had one fear at the start of all this, when we opened the stadium back in September, was that our players and our coaches and our fans, they wouldn't take to the place. But I think it's clear now. I think it's always been clear, actually, almost from the moment that we stepped in there, that the opposite has been true. That already, after only 8 months, in our new home, that stadium is sold out, and our fans see it as home, and that's where they want to play, and that's where they want to be, and that's where they want to come on a Friday night or a Saturday, and back their team.